everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. The last vacation I took with my ex and the kids, we went to Florida to visit his family. Now that trip is a video of its own, but for today's video, I'm just going to talk about one thing that happened. One day we decided we were going to take a boat trip. So just this little boat, and we were walking towards the boat, and it was my ex-mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, myself and the kids were up front, and the narcs were in the back. So we'll call the two narcs baby narc and grand narc. So they're out back, they're behind us, and we're going up towards the boat. Well, at one point, my ex-mother-in-law notices that there's a metal detector that you need to go through before you can get on the boat. She started panicking, fear, and she starts telling me, Sharon, help me take off this necklace. Oh my God, I'm going to set this metal detector off. Grand narc is going to be so upset. She was terrified of grand narc. What's going to happen? It wasn't, oh my gosh, I wonder, is this going to cause a delay? I hope this doesn't cause a delay. Do you think a metal detector will pick up jewelry? It was nothing like that. It was, oh no, I got to get this off right now. Help me. And she's shoving jewelry in her purse. She's telling me to hold some jewelry. She was in a full panic. She was completely frazzled by the time we went through the metal detector. And of course, and I thought this at the time too, it's a metal detector. She didn't have weapons on her. And I'm thinking to myself, unless she's got some weapon on her, it's not a jewelry detector. But she wasn't thinking logically. She was outside of her own mind because of fear. She was afraid of her narcissistic husband. So of course, because she didn't have a weapon on her, it was just jewelry, it didn't go off. So when she's through, she starts relaxing. Oh, thank God. I can remember when I grew up in a narcissistic home, like many of you, I'm sure. My mother was codependent and my father was narcissist. Now, narcissists have different priorities. For my father, these were the most important things. You had to be thin. If you were a girl, I guess a guy too, you had to be thin, but particularly a woman. Thin was the way it was. I can remember my father telling me, I don't care if you throw up every day, you're gonna be thin. And I was never even overweight, but my father wanted you rail thin. You had to be good looking. This was of paramount importance. He would critique you. My father would critique his family. And you had to get good grades. He wanted straight A students. That was of prime importance. So one day when I was in the junior high age, my mother picked my brother and I up from school, and it was report card day. So my brother I don't want to say he got a bad report card, because I think he probably just got a C or something on his report card, but that was bad. So my mother starts freaking out, not because she was worried about my brother's academic performance, but because she was afraid of my father, the narcissist. Grades are of paramount importance. So she's yelling and screaming at him, telling him she wishes she never had kids. And this was the whole thing that she used to go through all the time. And at one point, she banged the steering wheel really hard and the horn got stuck. So we're driving home with the horn blaring, my mother screaming and yelling. It was ridiculous, but it was all fear. Now, I also felt this way. When I was with my ex, I felt fear all the time. I was afraid of the narcissist. Now, I want to just say up front, narcissists, I don't want to tell you that they can't be dangerous. The fear that I'm talking about is the fear that they make us feel illogically. The way that things are very different than we think when we're with the narcissist, when we're in full narc mode. Things are very different, and that's what I want to talk about in today's video. But I'm not telling you that narcissists aren't dangerous. There were 2 times my ex, I believe he was going to hurt my family, harm us physically. So I'm not, and Chris Watts comes straight to mind. This is more of a mindset that we get when we think about the narcissist, when we make decisions related to the narcissist on an everyday basis. Narcissists absolutely can be dangerous, but we don't need to fear them. We don't need to fear their reactions on an everyday basis. We're trained to do this, and it turns us into people that we aren't. For those of you that listen to my channel regularly, you know that silent treatment was my ex's weapon of choice. And it was very effective, which was why it was his weapon of choice. It did something to me. And Joe said to me one time, Sharon, because, it's different for Joe and I now on the other side. Like when I look at Joe, I can't picture him codependent. I can't, which is great because that means he's gotten so far in his mental health that I can't even picture him that way. And he said to me similarly, I can't believe that you were reduced to that because you were so afraid of the silent treatment. I would turn into a different person. I was terrified when my ex would give me a silent treatment. It really did something to me. So towards the end, the last couple of years, it was basically non-stop silent treatments. He would go months at a time, and then there'd be a little reprieve for a couple of days, and he would go right back into it. The stress was unbelievable when he would do this, because what he would do is, and this is pretty typical of someone who gives you a silent treatment, you get the silent treatment because of things that they do. Then he treats everybody else super nice and me like I don't exist. So he'd come home, hey guys, like talking to the kids, and ignore me. But one thing he did do though is that he would send me texts when he was leaving work. Narcissists want you to feel fear. He also, when you broke the silent treatment, it would always be at the end of the day. He wasn't going to let me feel relief earlier in the day. So he would send me these texts. So it would be months and months of the silent treatment. And every day he would send me a text when he was leaving work, headed home, in town, that type of thing. And I would feel panic and fear grip me. It was like, oh no, something horrible is about to happen, because I would know I had hours when he was home for him to torture me by ignoring me, not looking at me. That's the thing with silent treatment, you don't exist. So today, when Joe said to me, why did that affect you so much? Why didn't you just take advantage of it and think to yourself, oh good, I don't have to deal with him for the next few hours, the next few days, months, whatever it is. And I said to Joe, I don't know, because that's how it should have been. I should have been like, screw you. And I should have just left him. I mean, honestly, that's what I should have done. But at the very least, I shouldn't have let this grip me so that I was so afraid. One day I was at my son's Little League game, and I was with my daughter, and I got one of those texts. Headed home, I literally burst into tears. I was so afraid. I couldn't even, the thought of going hours until bedtime when he would ignore me. Then even in bedtime, it's just total ignoring me. Like I don't exist. And that's what the silent treatment is. They're erasing you. But today, on the other side, I want to tell you something. For those of you that are still with a narcissist, they are the ones that are legitimately afraid. Narcissists do something to us. They strip us of our self-esteem, and it makes us think that we're people that we're not. But if you can understand how a narc's mind really is, they're the ones full of fear. Everything in their life is a lie. They're like actors or an actress. Like every day they're pretending to be somebody that they aren't, and they're terrified all the time that you're going to find out, that you're going to find this truth out about them, or that other people will find out the truth. If you can get yourself to a point where you understand how a narcissist thinks, you can change your entire life. When I told you a minute ago that the last couple of years of my entanglement, I was getting nonstop silent treatments, that ended up being a good thing for me because I started living a separate life. And then I had the courage finally to kick my ex out. So we were separated for 2 whole years where I barely even saw him. I used that time to change my life. I got my power back. And that's what I want to tell you today. If you are with a narcissist, I am telling you, you can get your power back the way, because you might not even realize it. I didn't know. This was just how it was. I was fearful. Like my ex-mother-in-law, I don't think she was thinking anything other than, oh my gosh, front and center in your mind is the emergency situation. If my child was bleeding profusely, I would be less concerned with how exactly this happened as I need to get them treatment or I need to help them stop this bleeding, whatever it is. When you're dealing with this, they always say, if this is like the classic thing that you hear, if you're on an airplane, right, and you have to put an air mask on, put it on yourself, then your child. You need to take care of yourself. Understand who the narcissist is, and you can change your life. You don't have to be with a narcissist, and you don't have to think that far right now. Like, oh my gosh, I actually have to leave. Think about taking back your life. I am telling you, this is somebody who's been through it. I get it. You are living a life full of fear that doesn't have to be. The best thing you can do if you are in an entanglement like this is rediscover yourself. Learn who you are, and that starts by understanding who the narcissist is. They're a scared little child. They're almost like, have you ever seen an animal that has a lot of fur and then you see them wet? Joe and I have 3 dogs. We have 2 Bichon Frises and 1 Shih Tzu. And these dogs, when you look at them, they look much bigger than they are. But when you get them wet, they're these little tiny things. I can remember after paying $1,000 for one of my Bichon Frises, I got him wet. I gave him a bath, and I actually thought to myself, now, Bichon Frises are such cute little dogs, but when my puppy was all wet, he looked like a rat. And I can remember thinking to myself, wow, I paid $1,000 for this little rat. The way that they appear, it's not who they really are when they're wet. They're reduced to this little tiny thing. That's like a narcissist. They project this big, scary image, and yeah, they can be dangerous. I'm not trying to say that they're not, but inside, they're like a little child. We actually have all the power, or we have access to all the power, because people like us who aren't narcissists, we can move on and have any life that we want. A narcissist, just like my dog is always going to be a dog, a narcissist is always going to be a narcissist. We have changed. The narcissist changed us with the way that they treated us, the things that they've made us believe. It's all fake. The way that a narcissist really is they're afraid of you. They're afraid. Now, I know they're not thinking this consciously, but this is real. They're afraid of you discovering who they really are. Once you assert any power, the narcissist shrivels up and dies. They can pretend all that they want, but the real truth is that you hold all the power when you're in an entanglement with a narcissist. You just need to learn how to gain access to that. And it starts with yourself. Rediscover yourself. Start looking at the narcissist differently. Start looking at your life differently. A narcissist controls us because we let them. If you can start looking at yourself and recognizing and learning things about yourself, why am I so afraid of this person? Like, I should have asked myself. Now, it took separation for me to ask myself this, but I did eventually do it. Why was I, when someone was ignoring me, why was I so afraid of them? Why did I let somebody abuse me for 20 years? Why? And Joe and I were talking about that in the last video. These are the questions you need to answer, because when you start gaining power, you'll start gaining independence, and that's how you're going to get free. So in today's video, the point I really want to drive home is that the way a narcissist pretends to be, the power they pretend to have, it's all an act. Think about my little dog who looks much bigger, and then when you get him wet, he looks like a drowned rat. That's the narcissist. Now, tread carefully, because these people can be dangerous, but what you need to do, I'm not talking about individual acts of violence. I'm talking about how they are on an everyday basis. They're the afraid ones, and they project everything on us. Think about how a narcissist does that. Everything that they accuse you of, you need to look at, because they're probably doing it. If a narcissist accuses you of cheating on them and you're not, you can pretty much be assured that they're cheating on you. My ex used to always tell me, oh, you're spending too much money. I wasn't spending too much money. He was. This is what they do. So they want you to be afraid, but the truth is that they're the scared ones. So please look at that and think about who you really are. What has the narcissist changed about me? Start focusing on yourself instead of the narcissist. And I'm telling you, things will start to change in your life. And at some point, you're going to be at a place you never thought you would be. If I look at my family, I have my mother and my ex-mother-in-law. They're still with their narcissist. They're still afraid. They're still living subhuman lives. They're like a caged animal. I want you, if you're living like that, to be free, because on the other side, it is joy. When you are free after you've been imprisoned, it is the greatest feeling in the world. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I hope that it helps somebody. I will see you on Friday on Friday's video. And until then, I hope everybody has a wonderful day and God bless you.